All right, being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Coos Bay City Council to meeting to order. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Welcome, everyone, and our agenda, if you want to follow, we have agendas on the back, do we not, Nicole? I hope. All right, and also public comments, there's a sign-up sheet that will take public comments at the end of the agenda this evening. If you want to speak, please sign the form. First item on the agenda this evening is consent calendar. Council, how would you like to proceed?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Before I take the vote, I want to let you know that Councilor Stevens and Councilor Matthews are both virtual this evening. Okay, with that being the case, is there any discussion on the consent calendar? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Marshfield High School update. Harper Thompson is not feeling well this evening, so we will not be having an update from him. The next item on the agenda is the Coos Bay Downtown Association Director introduction. Harv, would you like to come up and make a presentation? And congratulations on being the director, and yeah, it's great to see you.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor and councilors. I am Harv Shabothy, the new Main Street manager for the Coos Bay Downtown Association. I don't have a presentation tonight because I can't possibly match the one you're about to see.
Oh, wow.
Yet. Anyway, real quickly, in terms of an introduction, most of you have had an opportunity to meet me, but not all. I am a native Oregonian. Been here on the South Coast since about 2006 after I retired from state government, where I had worked for 30 years directing and administering state agencies. Got involved with kids down here primarily because for years I had coached high school and middle school football and basketball in the Salem area, so it was a kind of a passion. Speaking of passions, though, I did retire from the youth center. I thought retirement for good, but then I heard about the Main Street program. And had an opportunity to get the Main Street program off the ground in Bandon. Spent 12 years doing that. Decided it was time to retire and step back again, became president of the board. But the state coordinator for Main Street said, well, Harv, what do you think about Coos Bay? And I said, well, wonderful place. But I think they could use some help. And I said, well, I think I might just be interested, because quite honestly, folks up here may not realize, but you know, when you're in a community like Bandon and what you're trying to accomplish in a community like ours, quite honestly, when you get right down to it, for most of the folks who live in that community, when it gets right down to it, there's a lot of folks that require medical help, medical professionals. There are folks who would like to buy appliances. Bottom line, to get to those kinds of services, Coos Bay and North Bend, quite honestly, are where that's happening. And so for ourselves and for myself, what happens up here in Coos Bay and how it thrives is important for Bandon and how it thrives. So part of my passion is getting back into Main Street up here is to kind of get involved in that arena. At the same time, there's a passion for historic preservation. That's kind of where my real I guess fondness at this stage of my life is. Right now I'm the vice president, soon to be president of Restore Oregon, and quite honestly there's just an awful lot in this town that quite honestly should be part of that effort, and a big part of what I hope to accomplish here is to look at all we have in terms of that history and preserve as much of that as we can. So anyway, great opportunity to be here, and once I get my feet underneath me a little bit more, we'll be back with a presentation. I know we have an agreement coming up with you folks soon that needs to be renewed, and we can provide an awful lot more in terms of a presentation, in terms of where the organization is.
Well, it's great to have you on board. I've known you for a while, and I'm glad the philosophy you have. We're one community throughout this county, and so it's wonderful that you have that perspective. Any other questions for Harv, anyone?
Okay.
Well, we look forward to seeing you. Well, I've seen you, you've been on 2 mayor's walks. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the last one, and I'm sure I'll see you on more. So anyway, thank you. It's good to see you. Next item on the agenda is the semi-annual presentation of Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. Allison Richardson's going to do it. Rosie, I want to say congratulations as the new executive director for the chamber. It's wonderful to see you in that position. You definitely have a lot of energy, and I've been watching you on your live post, and enthusiastic is, at least. That's good. All right. Allison, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to and what we have coming up. I'm Allison Richards. I'm the 2024 Chamber President. And if you haven't for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet Rosie, we brought Rosie on in November. She's the new Executive Director of the Chamber. She's doing a wonderful job. Sorry. Figure out. Oh, nope, wrong way. Okay, so we'll start with our fall and winter events. We had the 31st Annual Economic Outlook Forum in December. It was both John Mitchell and Tim Slater's final year with us. It had over 250 people in attendance. And the annual beef raffle was a huge success. Rosie even wore, if you look at the far picture, Rosie dressed up in a cow suit to add to the festivities. She's been really great. We had the awards banquet in January with a Season for Change, where we honored Business of the Year North Bend Lanes, Chamber Member of the Year Tracy Pierce from Northwest Natural, and Citizen of the Year Bob Moore, who's done a lot of outreach work in the community. The directory distribution towards the end of February and Chillin' After Hours at Northwest Natural was a big success. We had a nice turnout, and the board and ambassadors delivered directories and to all of the member businesses in the area. For some stats, we are 487 members strong right now, 43 new members in 23, plus an additional 15 so far in 2024. In 2023, we did 21 ribbon cuttings and have done 9 so far in 2024. The staff answered 3,650 phone calls and made about 1,800 referrals to our membership businesses. Some website and Facebook stats. We had 102,071 unique visitors to the website, and Facebook page has about 3,400 followers. The most recent Facebook Live that we did was at the AYA Alternative Youth Authority ribbon cutting, where they showed us all of the things that they're working on and had over 1,600 views. Tim Slater retired at the end of the year, and we threw him a big party after 16 years of service and dedication to the chamber and this community. And we are now working with Team Rojo. Rosie Thomas, our executive director, and Jolene Crossman, our office manager and leadership Coos coordinator, came back after taking a couple years off to raise her family. Chamber goals for 2024. During our annual planning session that we have each year, we put together 4 SMART goals. SMART is, a lot of people are familiar, but SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So those were to improve our social media outreach, more tagging, posting, sharing for member businesses, and add more platforms other than Facebook, do more Facebook Lives, Instagram, and YouTube videos. Second goal was rebirth of the education committee, so to just reestablish the committee and find a chair for that. So that's one of our big goals for this year. Partner and attend 4 non-chamber events throughout the year in pop-up booths. We've already attended North Bend Main Street Mixer and plan to have some outreach at the Coos Downtown Farmers Market, participate in Fun Festival Parade, and a few other things that are as they come up. And the 4th goal is to continue to consistently engage our elected officials through the LAT Committee, Legislative Action Team, where Ron Cooch does an amazing job tracking all of our legislative bills during the session, and then helping to provide candidate forums and ballot measure forums during our WBC Wednesday Business Connection lunches. Committee updates. So I just kind of said something about the LAT. I kind of went over that already, but the ambassadors, always looking for new and more greeters. It's kind of the fun, red-vested way to start out if you want to get out in the community and you're not sure how to participate in the chamber. Leadership Coos is going to graduate the 34th class on May 14th, which is an amazing program. I went through it in 2012-13 season. Our Natural Resources Committee has a new chair. Tim Slater stepped up to chair that committee so that he could still be involved in chamber activities. And the Business Development Committee is hosting Business Builder workshops the 2nd Thursday from 3 to 5, January through June at the Newmark Center. Always a different subject and something that you or your employees can attend for free. Business Development also came up with a new idea for an award at the annual awards banquet, a green award to honor businesses with strong green energy practices. And we are bringing back the 5-star customer service awards. So upcoming events, we have, of course, the golf tournament coming up in June, which is Father's Day weekend. The Highway 101 Cleanup Brigade will be May 4th, and we're going to bring that back, hopefully fire station to fire station, with the Pirates, Bulldogs, and Lakers. So choose your team and pick up some garbage. It's a very fun day. And that is all that we have for now.
Congratulations on you being president. And also I want to thank the Chamber for recognizing Bob Moore as Citizen of the Year. That was a nominee of ours, and I think it was well deserved, so thank you. Anyway, I look forward to working with you, Rosie, down the road, and everyone else. Questions, anyone?
I had one. How large is your leadership Coos? I think it's a big one, isn't it?
It's, I want to say 39 or 40 people this year.
So it's pretty big.
It's a very large class, yes.
Are a lot of those new people, or is it a good mix?
It's a good mix of people. Some new board members, and Steve Nye, who's our president-elect, it's like his second or third year on the board, is attending this year. And then there are a couple of newer people to town that have joined, and yeah, it's a good class.
Well, it's definitely something that people should do. I know I enjoyed it, and no matter how long you've been in the community, you show different aspects of it that a lot of us haven't seen, so I appreciate you doing it. So
It's a
been
great
going on
place
for
to
how long
learn.
now?
34 years.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Good.
Wonderful.
Ron, thank you for what you do on the legislative committee. I'm sure that's not always easy, but I appreciate it. So, anyone
All right.
else? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of approval for a proclamation celebrating Women's History Month. And Lucinda's going to read that proclamation this evening. Maybe I didn't want to do that one. All right. Consideration to ratify members of the newly formed Livability Committee. And Nicole?
Yes, I'm going to start us out. The Livability Committee kicked off their first meeting in February. And at that meeting, we initiated a call for citizens who might be interested to participate in that committee by filling out an application. So far, we've received 8 applications. And in the staff report, and so we're obviously getting some interest, but in the staff report, there is some, what we initially were believing, some key roles that would be important to have individuals representing different organizations in our committee, from the community on the committee. Because we haven't quite received applications or interest just yet for maybe a good number of these organizations, we are gonna maybe hold this out just a bit longer to see if we can, get a little bit more interest. So you are being asked to ratify, but I'm actually gonna recommend that we give us a little bit more time to make sure that we're kind of capturing all of the folks who we'd like to see participating. We do have a good starting point with some interested people, but we'd just like to give it a little bit more time to make sure that we're seating, a good group of people who can kind of carry this forward to do some good work. So.
All right, so we'll just let this continue on and ratify it at another time, right?
I guess I would leave that up to you guys.
So do you guys
if
want, well, we have 9 members, I think, it looks like to me. Do you want to, well, we have more than that. Do you want to ratify what we have and then continue on from there, or what?
I would actually like to hold off because I think there are some key positions that have not had an opportunity to meet and appoint someone. For example, the Coos Bay Downtown Association, I think, should be a piece of this committee, and they meet next week, so that can probably go on their agenda.
Does everyone concur? Okay, good. Now we'll go to approval of the proclamation celebrating Women's History Month, the consideration of it, I should say. And Lucinda, you're going to read this?
I am. Nicole, did you want to give any background before I read the proclamation?
Sure, I could open up. So Women's History Month encourages reflection on the remarkable impact of women throughout time and celebrates their roles in shaping societies worldwide, fostering inspiration and empowerment for current and future generations. This was initiated by President Jimmy Carter as a week acknowledgement in March of 1980. And that was further evolved in 1987, following the National Women's History Project, who successfully petitioned Congress to designate the entire month of March as Women's History Month. And so then, since that point, there are several organizations across the nation that take the opportunity to acknowledge March, the whole month of March, for Women's History Month. you wanna.
Great, thanks, Nicole. With that, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas throughout history, women have played pivotal roles in shaping societies, advancing progress, and championing justice, equality, and human rights. And whereas the contributions of women, often overlooked or marginalized, have been instrumental in every facet of human endeavor, including science, technology, arts, literature, politics, business, and education. And whereas the resilience, determination, and leadership of women have inspired generations to strive for excellence and to challenge barriers and stereotypes. And whereas Women's History Month offers an opportunity to celebrate the achievements and contributions of women from diverse backgrounds and cultures and to honor their courage, vision, and legacy. And whereas by recognizing and amplifying women's voices, stories, and experiences, we can promote gender equality, foster inclusive communities, and create a more just and equitable world for all.
Now, therefore, I, Joe Benetti, Mayor of Coos Bay, City of Coos Bay, do hereby proclaim the Women's History Month and call upon all citizens to honor the extraordinary women who have shaped history and to support efforts that promote gender equality and empower women and girls to reach their full potential. So if that's acceptable, I need a motion and a second to adopt this.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this proclamation celebrating Women's History Month.
Second.
And I just like to say, anyone else can also make a comment, that I've had the pleasure of serving with a variety of different women throughout my tenure and different boards and committees, and they made me a better person because of it. So I just think it's important that we take this time and do recognize how women make a big difference in our community, and it's well-deserved, this proclamation. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is consideration to approve the purchase of installation contract of a new boiler for the Water Quality Division. Jennifer?
Thank you. So I'll start off by giving just a little bit of a background. So sludge is the byproduct of treating wastewater. Sludge is a mix of organic matter from human waste, food waste particles, and microorganisms. The sludge must be treated and reduced as mandated by our wastewater permits. Once the sludge meets the permit requirements, it's conveyed to our lagoon and east side, and then it's safe to land apply, and we land apply that onto our local farms, and they use it as fertilizer. So this reduction and treatment process are done in a tank called a digester. It's done with bacteria, and that bacteria needs a heated environment. So in order, ideally, the process to heat is, this process actually produces methane gas, which heats the digesters. However, there are times that due to temperature, high volumes of inflow and infiltration, and plant upsets, the quality of sludge can be compromised. As a result, not enough methane is produced to heat the digesters. When this occurs, the operators at the plants need to augment the heat by utilizing a boiler. So for the City of Coos Bay, Plant 2 sludge is conveyed via force main and gravity lines from Plant 2 to Plant 1, where the digesters are located. The boiler for the Plant 1 digester was originally installed in 1988. The current boiler is no longer efficient and is in need of constant maintenance. Staff estimates that 30% of the Plant 1 callouts are due to boiler issues. A new boiler will drastically reduce the amount of after-hour callouts. Staff research has also found that the current boiler consumes far more fuel than necessary due to the old and outdated technology associated with our boiler. This fiscal year to date, the boiler has used just under 10,000 gallons of fuel. That's a cost of just over $38,000. A new boiler will enhance the ability to make a quality sludge, thus producing more methane and, in theory, running the boiler less. It is anticipated by staff that the fuel usage and thus fuel cost will be reduced by 30%. A bid request for a boiler was advertised. 4 bids were received. I attached the bid tab in your staff report. The responsive bid was from DB Western Inc. for an amount of $131,186.
So has this boiler, because when it was first installed, didn't include Plant 2 sludge being conveyed over to Plant 1, has that impacted it, I'm sure, at some degree, or not?
I mean, we use our boilers more, I guess, if you will, but we're being more efficient because we only have one set of boilers now to maintain as opposed to 2.
True. So for everyone's information, so when Plant 2 was built, they built a line that would connect Plant 2 to Plant 1 to handle the sludge. I know this is really interesting for you, but for us, it was something that was really efficient. They used to truck it in to plant one on a daily basis, and then I'm sharing time. So it's really efficient, and then it's processed, and then it also goes in a line and goes over to East Side to
A lagoon.
a lagoon over there for another treatment process of it. So it's pretty efficient. We're not driving vehicles around and handling this any longer. So council, with that being the case, how would you like to proceed?
I move that we approve the purchase and installation contract of a new boiler for the digesters to DB Western for an amount not to exceed $150,864, which includes a 15% contingency.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase and installation contract of a new boiler for the Water Quality Division. Are there any discussions or questions?
I have a few. Go ahead. Listen to you.
Thank you, Troy. One question is the fertilizer. So this creates fertilizer. So do we sell this fertilizer, or do we use it on our properties?
No, we don't sell it. We actually have agreements with local farmers,
Okay.
and it's a way to dispose of it. A lot of cities actually have to pay to just dispose of it at a landfill.
Okay.
So it is advantageous for us to keep
I was
our-
looking for opportunities for revenue, so,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
And the boiler was installed in '88, so it's 33
Correct.
years old. Is that a long lifespan for that?
I think typically we should count on 20 years for planning purposes, but yeah.
This is kind of indirectly related, but since I've been on the council, it seems like every week we're replacing something. I realize these things wear out.
Mhm.
Were they all kind of set up about the same time? And so they're all sort of wearing out at the same time?
So I can answer those questions better about Plant 2.
Okay.
Because we were more involved at Plant 2.
Right.
We took over the whole asset about 2.5 years ago. So a lot of those records went with that contractor when we terminated that contract. So we're trying to get on a schedule,
Right.
but we do have a big system, and there are some old parts in it.
Right. And I imagine technology changes as well.
Correct, and that's one of the cases here.
Okay. Thank you.
But Plant 1, we are going to rebuild. So this is going to be something that's part of that rebuild. Am I correct?
This is not associated with the Phase 1 upgrade project,
not?
if that's what you're talking about. No, this is
Okay.
outside of the Phase 1 project.
All right. But Plant 1's going to be rebuilt, and so we're in the process of that too. Other questions? Anyone?
Since we're on the topic of wastewater, can you remind us how unique our system is and
Sure.
what we have to do to process a very vital function of our community?
Well, we are one of very few cities in Oregon that have 2 treatment plants. We have 90 miles of gravity line, 10 miles of force main. We have 23 sewer pump stations, 3 storm pump stations, and 50 miles of storm.
Very large.
Very large for our small community,
Thank
With
you.
mountain running down the middle.
correct?
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is consideration to authorize participation in the Oregon Heritage All-Star Community Destination Program. Chelsea.
Yeah, good evening, council. So as council is aware, the city is a certified local government. We have an adopted historic preservation program. There are many others in the community working alongside the city to preserve and promote our community's heritage. And that's what this Oregon Heritage All-Star Designation Program does. It spotlights communities like ours where the people are really working hard to preserve and promote our historic and cultural resources. And to receive this designation, the community has to meet at least 15 of 24 criteria. We believe that we do meet at least 15, and so we would like to apply. And for this designation, what do we receive? Well, it's really just recognition. We get a certificate, we get signage to post, we get a logo of recognition on the Travel Oregon website. And then we also receive technical support so that we can maintain that recognition, improve the program. This program kind of runs through the State Historic Preservation Office, Oregon Parks and Rec. Oregon Heritage Commission is the one making the designations, and they will be meeting on April 17th. In advance of that date, their Oregon Heritage Fatality Work Group will meet here at the Coos History Museum on April 8th. On their agenda, they'll be discussing the cities that have the potential to receive this designation. So we are hopeful that we can apply, that we will have a good standing, and we think the designation is timely given we are celebrating the city's 150th anniversary this year.
Questions for Chelsea about this?
I just wanted to make comment. I know a lot of people came together to get these, meet the 500, excuse me, not 500, it felt probably like 500, 15 criteria for consideration of the designation. As a member of the Oregon Tourism Commission, getting this designation also is an opportunity to drive more visitors here. Cultural tourism continues to, we see more and more revenue from a result of that. I also think what sets us apart is the relationship that this community has with the two federally recognized tribes, the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Umpqua, and Sayusla Indians, and the Coquille Indian Tribe. The work done with the 4th grade program and a number of other programs in this community, I think, make it simply a rubber stamp yes, would be my hope. So I'm really excited that we're doing this. I want to thank Heather Christianberry. I think she did some heavy lifting in cricket and a whole bunch of other people, and of course you, Chelsea, to make this happen. So, and the fact that it's happening in celebration with the 150th birthday is really, really wonderful. So thank you for your work on this.
Any other comments?
Yeah, another, sorry, technical question. So are there any limitations put on like our development, our growth, or how we do?
No, this does not set any kind of restrictions. So, when you have a building on a national register,
Correct.
that limits the type of work you can do. This doesn't have any of that.
Okay,
Simply
so
just
that's really just a way to
recognition.
recognize and say, we're here, we're proud of who we are, come see
Yes.
us. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay,
Well, I'd like to. We're here, we're proud of who we are, come see us, but I think we're also an example of a community that works well together, that collaborates with one another. And I know you meant that, but I just wanted to expand upon it, Councilor Cribbins, just to make sure it was all inclusive.
My life would not be the same without strong women.
appropriate time on that. All right, any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to authorize the city's participation in the Oregon Heritage All-Star Community Designation Program by adopting Resolution 24-12.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Now we're down to public comments. So as I mentioned earlier, anyone that would like to speak needs to sign the form in the back that they would like to speak before the council. All right, so anyway, this is the time that we have set for public comments, and preferably something that's not on the agenda. The public comment period is designated for topics not already included on the agenda, as I just stated, and intended for public to share ideas and concerns. It is not intended for interaction discussion with the council. That's why tomorrow on Wednesdays, for a while, we're going to have meetings at the library to have interaction and more discussion in a more thorough way. So those are going to be continuing on for a period of time. Hopefully, we'll have good interaction and have a lot doing to attend. There may be opportunities for public comments during specific agenda items, which we've already gone through, but there was none. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to questions or issues under discussion during this time. During any designated comment period, individuals shall not engage in personal attacks, shall not impugn the motives of any speaker, and shall at all times, while in session, conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the council. First person is Ashton Bowden, is that correct? Yeah, I apologize. How bad did I do this, your name? No, you're good. Thank you. Welcome. If you just come up and give us your name again, please, and the city you reside. Appreciate it.
Ashton Bowden, Coos Bay. Now, do I have a time limit?
Yep, 3 minutes. And
3 minutes, oh
city
goodness.
attorney is going to, yes.
All right. My name is Ashton Bowden. I'm an AmeriCorps member serving in Southwest Oregon with United Community Action Network in support of the South Slough Reserve. Before Oregon, I lived in Stone Mountain, Georgia, so I traveled all the way over here. I've served 7 months of an 11-month contract. Throughout my time in Coos Bay, I led an after-school program at North Bay Elementary School from November to February, and am currently organizing future programming for Blossom Gulch. Outside of the school systems, I offered free nature journaling classes around the community. South Slough and Friends of South Slough were able to support high school interns with a stipend for assisting me during programs. I've been to 2 meetings prior to this one, community meetings. During public comments, I heard people voice concerns and disapproval for certain topics. I've also seen people commend the board for being diligent and transparent when necessary, 2 things I am pleased to see in a community. Now, I'd like to invite everyone to take a moment to think of a dream destination with a stunning feature or some aspect of a place that makes you just go, wow. You know, like the Vegas lights or the Venetian or the San Francisco Bridge or the Great Wall of China or the Eiffel Tower. Okay, so I don't know if y'all can relate to this, but me personally, when I think of my wow moment, which was seeing the Acropolis and Parthenon in Greece, as a teenager, I found it so funny and odd that the citizens in Athens seemed to care less that they are walking through the foothills of ancient gods and civilizations. They can walk by massive structures without batting an eye or paying any regard. That is not to say that they don't appreciate what's around them, though. I say this to encourage us all to find our Eiffel Tower or Parthenon in our hometowns. Imagine you are a tourist in your own city. What would you be proud of? What would you be amazed to see? What do you pass by every day that might be a wow to someone else? What is Coos Bay's Eiffel Tower? How much time do I have? Get a minute. Okay, so I've taken lessons from these teachings to better care for children. As a provider and an adult responsible for minors, if left unchecked, our energy, demeanor, or mood can and will affect the people around us. One achievement I am specifically proud of is creating a safe, nurturing space where children feel respected. I've yet to meet a person who does not value being heard. I am aware that this is not a school board, but as schools exist within the city, I find what I need to say next to be relevant. If I may, I'd like to share something very close to the core of who I am. I believe working with children is the most purposeful thing I have done so far in my life. Bad behaviors almost always stem from unmet needs. My goal when working with children is to make them feel heard, valued, and respected. Heart of many ages is a quote I often find myself referring to. It means that once we go through one stage in life, it will always be a part of us. This ideology has allowed me to be patient, attentive, and graceful to the people I encounter, especially children. Oh, do you mind if I finish? I'd encourage us to think about those who don't typically get a voice or say in city planning. I'm not saying to let 7-year-olds make all the decisions. One example, if there are new parks or playgrounds being built, maybe poll local kids at schools for what play structures they'd want. Again, I am aware of the money, logistics, and resources needed for city planning. This was simply an idea just to get our brains thinking. Now, this also made me question if children have been encouraged to attend City Hall meetings with family members. The future of cities should take the youth into consideration, give them a reason to love their home, their communities, their schools, and their natural environment.
Thank you. Appreciate those comments. Okay, Mike Powder. How are you this evening?
I'm good.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. Surprise, bike lanes and speed limits.
All right.
I was coming down Ocean Boulevard when I came here, and there's a lady on a bicycle, and there's a section of Ocean Boulevard where you have to go on the road. You know, that's 40 miles an hour on Ocean Boulevard. And I think that, 2 things need to happen. We need to start looking at getting some serious bike infrastructure on there, bike lane or something, or lower the speed limits. So that's one little thing there. It seems to me, like I see everywhere, it's really tough. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to put in a bike lane, for people to get together, put in a bike lane. But it seems like if a city wants to take out a bike lane, they could almost do it at a click of the fingers. So I think that needs to stop. It should be as hard to get rid of a bike lane as it is to put one in. And that I'm talking to is about Central Avenue, where we're looking at removing a bike lane there. Anyway, moving on next to the 101 from Virginia to into town. Now, I know it's a ODOT policed area, but the city we could, they don't have enough people to constantly engineer the place. That part of the roadway there, 45 miles an hour with the new businesses going in, the car dealerships, more and more people coming around, that speed should be reduced. It's within a city. I don't think any speed limit should really be anything above 30 in a city, but it is within a city. We have a lot of people, a lot of activity along that road. And several times I've almost got clipped, and especially with the road work there, people aren't slowing down anywhere. And the road work just directs people into the street, into the traffic or whatever. But I'd like to see if the city could look at some way of applying to be able to manage our own speed limits within our city and take it out of the hands of ODOT, because I'm not too sure about their engineering at times. That's about it for me.
Mike, thank you.
Short and sweet. You're welcome.
I can just tell you that we don't have control over ODOT.
Right.
If you want to be the ambassador and you can change their minds, I think it'd be great. I mean, we've even tried to change the speed limits down along Front Street and have off-street parking, which has it. We just want it marked. So it's a challenge, but I think it's something that we can try, but it's a challenge. So,
Now, isn't there an online form that the city can fill out, a department can fill out with ODOT to get control of managing our deal? Because
I don't think they're going to release this control, but Nicole,
No.
I guess maybe you can inquire and see
I can certainly
they've
rattle.
changed their mind yet.
Yeah, I talk to a few people from ODOT all the time. They don't answer me in a hurry, but I do talk to them, yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Okay,
Thank you. Chris Castleman?
Hi, I'm Chris Castleman. I do not live in a city. I live in the county. I appreciate your sentiments, the guy who came up here and talked first. I love Coos Bay. I first heard about Coos Bay when I was a little kid. I was a runner. I've always been a runner. And I heard about Steve Prefontaine and his famous quote, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift," has been something that I've carried with me my whole life, and I love seeing the mural, even though I know it costs a lot of money. It's a beautiful mural right in the middle of town, and when I go for runs, I run past that mural, and I run to Steve's childhood home, and I say hi to him, and it's a pretty cool thing that I can do that. So there are a lot of things about Coos Bay that are pretty neat. The Acropolis is also really, really cool, if anyone has a chance to go and see that. I wanted to talk about fentanyl. I know 2 weeks ago you guys passed an emergency declaration for fentanyl. I just kind of wanted to see if there was a status update. I know this is not a situation for back and forth. I'll probably be at the library tomorrow to hear what Joe has to say, but during your comments, council comments, maybe you guys could touch on it. What's going on? Is there any metrics that we have to go on to see if we're progressing? What kind of an emergency are we dealing with? How do we achieve a goal of getting out of that emergency? What have the other counties or cities that have declared an emergency, what are they doing? Have they seen any success? How can we emulate that success? It's just something I'd be interested in hearing about. Potentially giving Drew Farmer over there a layup, but we'll see how it goes. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. So Chief, you want to address that?
Well, I also plan on being at the library tomorrow, and I can maybe expand on what I'm going to just briefly talk about right now. Obviously, we were waiting to see what was going to happen with the ballot measure 110, and it's my understanding that that is all passed through. Now there's revision to that ballot measure, and I think it has now been signed by the governor. So I believe the latest I heard is that will actually take effect September 1st, and that'll give law enforcement the opportunity to start addressing some of the open air drug use issues, as well as just some of the possession issues that we are seeing, and we're hoping with that we'll start getting maybe in front of some of the issues that the drug issues that we've been seeing in our community. There's also still a component to that provision where it will still allow for folks to seek treatment. Those options will still be available as well. So I may not have much more to expand on right now. I will look into maybe bringing a little bit more to the table tomorrow. I think we just got to kind of stand by and see what the future will bring for us in terms of being able to start regulating some of the drug use in our community.
Thanks, Chief. Next public comment is James Bennett. Hi, how are you? Good. Thank you.
James Bennett, Bandon. You know, the original framers wanted new people to come in all the time, and sometimes big corporations want it too, because that fresh perspective can be very valuable. And this is my fresh perspective moving here. I actually lived north of Bandon a few years ago. This is what I think. I think that this beautiful place, along with North Bend and Charleston, up on a knoll, surrounded by water, should be doing great by mistake. Even in this economy, given how Bandon's doing. And the reason it's not doing great is because you've hitched your wagon to the people that are behind everything that's wrong on planet Earth. They've weaponized all the institutions. We shouldn't have to be reminded what NGO stands for. Stakeholder, consensus, public-private partner. Do a search on the federal Constitution or on Oregon's Constitution, which is subordinate to same, and it'll say no results found. Now, this consensus collaborative stuff, I know that it's like standing in the middle of the Colorado, and as soon as they get you into office, they indoctrinate the hell out of you and everything, and I know that they do it all the time. It doesn't matter. They're stealing elections all over the world, and they stole 1 million of our children last year, too. It doesn't mean it's right. Now, we shouldn't need a piece of paper to tell us that using a result-driven process with a composite and an aggregate of different stakeholders and people that are often not from the area, with language that never includes we the people, or in legalese, the body politic. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter how the city is held in terms of the charter. You are subordinate to the federal Constitution. And this consensus stuff is being used for everything. It's being used to start forest fires out in Medford a few years ago. It's being used for 2.5 million acres in southern Oregon. It's being used for the water plan for the state of Oregon for the next 100 years. It's being used to import these criminals. Now you're being complicit in commingling the homeless thing with these militant invaders, and you're letting them set up like a base. You guys, you need to start working for the people again. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll be putting you on notice again. And I'm going to tell you something. This whole political landscape in our country is going to flip. And there's going to be seismic stuff coming out. And everybody's going to know that the whole polarity has changed. Right around now would be a good time to pick the right team. And the right team is we the people.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is council comments. Oh no, city manager's report. I always want to skip you, Nicole. I apologize. All right. Would you like to go ahead?
I do have a few things. So I'm not sure if anybody has been by the 3rd and Central parking lot, but we have some plantings that are going in. It's turning out to be really beautiful. We spoke a little bit earlier about the boiler for Plant 1. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity. We had a city staff member has a an article, a thing on KCBY today about the pool boiler. It is a good indication of living in a great community who all comes together to solution a problem. I think we have about $50,000 of donations towards that, with the goal getting that up and running as soon as possible. I believe I shared previously that I'd be speaking at a funding forum on Thursday. We have about 25 local, state, and federal representatives across the housing kind of HUD-related entities. So they'll be here also meeting with some developers, just kind of speaking to the challenges we have in our community to get some of these projects lifted and changing that housing landscape here. I think a couple months ago, I was reminded that I had a duty to report on library stats. So I have the 2022-23 year in review stats. It's a great little flyer. And just quickly from that, in that period, they had a little over 85,000 visits. Had almost 220,000 physical checkouts, a little over 37,000 digital checkouts. They did 445 community programs with over 10,000 people in attendance. We're doing a lot of stuff at the library, so maybe check it out. The community fridge is amazing. They go Fridays to the firehouses where they bring books. You can exchange your books there, so they're both Empire and East Side firehouses. I also am going to bring some information back at the work session regarding urban renewal agencies, the funding mechanism for that, how that works in community, what that takes as far as working with the overlapping taxing districts. I think it's a good lead-in as we walk into budget, and I also understand there's maybe a little bit of confusion happening out in communities, so I think it's a good thing to bring back, just kind of a general overview, just to let you know it's coming, so it'll be at the work session. I was going to share last two things. For those of you who maybe signed up to be on the LOC policy committees, those have started. I had 2 meetings this week, one Monday, one tomorrow. Interesting, I'm on the broadband and technology group. Tomorrow is energy and environmental, and the next week I sit on finance and taxation. So a lot of great city leaders across the state. I learned so much. On Monday, there are so many things we're not even touching yet in broadband and technology. I don't know how we do that yet, but we've got 5 more meetings to learn. And then last thing, I just wanted to say thank you to Councillor Matthews for passing on an amazing book called Happy City. If you get your hands on it, that's maybe something to think about our future. It changes the way we become a community, the way we interact. I think that's, I don't know, just a different way to think about how Coos Bay could be that gets us out and about a little bit more and interacting with each other differently. So thank you for the read.
So where are we on the pool boiler? Is it ordered?
So the cost for that is a little bit under $75,000. As of yesterday's count, we're about $50,000 worth of donations, so we're getting pretty darn close. I do understand that the pool board has, already indicated they have interest to make sure that that full cost is covered, and we'll continue those efforts.
So we're going to go ahead and order it and get it going?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
What's the status on it, or do we know?
We don't have any lead times yet, but as soon as we know, you guys will know.
All right, thanks. All right, council comments. Troy?
I have 2 tonight. First, was it Mr. Bowden with an N or Bowder with an R? Bowden. So I don't know what your plans are when you're finished working with AmeriCorps, but this community would love to have you as a permanent. So thank you for being here. Second was I wanted to just kind of make a comment about supporting Women's History Month. I think we've made great strides in equality and how we look at others. I still think we have room to grow. But I would say, as the husband of a very accomplished female and a daughter who's been raised to believe that there isn't anything she can do, there's no limits on what she can do. I'm really proud of the direction we're going. That's all I got.
Great comments. Stephanie?
I just have a couple of things. I also was going to comment on Ashton's. I agree with you. Every time I've had the opportunity to work with youth, it is one of the most fulfilling things that we can do and volunteer with. And I applaud you for the work that you're doing with our youth, and also just an incredible piece of our community that South Slough Reserve is. And I had the opportunity a couple of summers ago to take some youth out there as part of a youth program that North Bend was doing. And it was one of the highlights. They really enjoyed it. And those were kids with neurodiverse challenges, and they just opened up, and it was just an incredible experience for them. So I applaud you for what you're doing. Also wanted to mention a very nice article in actually a global publication that Coos Bay was featured in. Nice interview with the mayor and council president and our city manager in the Business View magazine. My day job, the one that pays me, is the airport. And so I thought I'd just mention that article, and also mention that if you have not subscribed to the newsletter to find out what is going on with that critical piece of infrastructure that we have in our community, you can do that. I do have a few more business cards that have a QR code. That's all you got to do to get to the site and sign up for that newsletter. But it's flyoth.com, and I would encourage you to get there. It's a very active, there's a lot of things that are going on there. I always run out of room to talk about those things that are happening at the airport. And so it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with council, although it is a very important piece of what we do in our community. That's all I have.
And it definitely is, yep. Lucinda?
I too wanted to thank Ashton, is that right? Ashton's for your comments. Super pleased to have South Slough, such an amazing place in this community. It'll be celebrating, I believe, its 50th anniversary in August. So, and I believe it brought you here. So yet another gift that it just keeps on giving. So thank you for your comments tonight. I also had the privilege of attending the Oregon's Governor Conference on Tourism, and I wanted to congratulate Travel Southern Oregon Coast for their award for a partnership award with Seven Devils Brewery, Whiskey Run, Bike Trails, a lot of community partners. Janice worked on that with the VCB and is chair of Travel Southern Oregon Coast. So Travel Southern Oregon Coast has won, I think, 3 awards now, which is really impressive. So it was incredibly rewarding to see this area highlighted in front of 500 of our tourism folks, just really talking about, again, partnership, collaboration, and focusing on the outdoors and just what a remarkable place this is. So congratulations to TSOC. And that is all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. Drew?
Yep, so I had a meeting with the sheriff yesterday, and following up on the layup Chris gave me, I appreciate it. I know we both worked similar on this. I met with the sheriff because I'm still not seeing forward action out of the Board of Commissioners on it. So we talked about why it's not moved forward yet, what they may have questions with, and what we came to was that we declared an emergency as a city, and when the governor took her action, it was a city and a county that had declared an emergency. And it didn't make a great deal of sense how some of these mechanisms would come through, because apparently Oregon Emergency Management isn't entirely familiar with what is being done, which seemed counterintuitive. So we did a little more research, and we found that the states of emergency were utilized on January 30th as a motivator for an executive order. And that is how supports have made it to Portland and Multnomah County. So it's a combination of the Oregon Emergency Management, ODHS, as Human Services, Oregon Health Authority, licensing boards, state police, and a bunch of other entities. And some of the things, like, we obviously want to know metrics and numbers around what improvement is being made. Portland is being handed that. They're just being given support from Oregon Health Authority to make that metric and make those reports. So that would be something that can come out of our declaration of emergency if we can get follow-up from the county to pursue this, and then we can put kind of pressure upward and ask for the same things Portland got, essentially, is they can make this for us. They're already making it. Why not just give us a way to do it too? They're getting support from the Oregon State Police, and the nutshell is the Sheriff's Office, or our Office of Emergency Management for Coos County, are working on moving this forward a little more. And I would prefer the commissioners do it because it cuts into my time to make a paycheck, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's about where that's at. Still waiting on them to do some more stuff, and the Sheriff's Office is doing everything it can, and I'm assisting in the background with the research and what mechanisms we have to use to make this thing happen. Also got an interesting look. If folks probably don't know this, and you hear about how dangerous it is to be a cop, but in the Sheriff's Office, they have a legit STG assault rifle. This is like one of the original assault rifles, and they got it because they were doing a drug bust and a guy pulled it on the past sheriff. Like, this is a heavy, legit World War II assault rifle, and they've got it in a case now, and it just shows how dangerous things get. I mean, it's all the respect to them. We just gotta, I need the commissioners to keep up. That's what I got.
Thanks, Drew. All right, Carmen?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. First off, I just want to congratulate Harv on his appointment to the Downtown Association Director. Super excited to get working with Harv and see what happens as we move forward. Really glad to hear that the pool's moving forward. I get almost daily asks about the progress. It's such an important resource, and I think the fact that we're seeing, a quick call to action on raising funds for that particular asset really speaks to its importance. And I'm really glad that this council and everybody and staff is on board to get this thing up and running as soon as possible. It's something I'm hearing about a lot. So, moving forward, any discussions about the pool or its relevance, I think, is something that is clear. It has a lot of relevance and a lot of importance to this community. I'll echo just about everybody. Ashton, I really appreciated your comments. I think about Coos Bay a lot, and I think about why I live here. And, one of the main points for me is the natural beauty. My view is that nature and the beauty of the nature that we have here is just awe-inspiring, and it's what keeps me here. It's what I deem to most of my friends is this is my Shire. For all you nerds out there, this really feels like my place where I want to journey around the world and then come back home, and this feels like home to me. And one of those things that actually our city manager pointed out in that book that I gave you, it really speaks to the happiness factor of where we live, and I think that we're all trying to work on that, and that leads me into my last comment. I've been asked to be at Wednesday's meeting. The the community meeting at 11. I'm not sure if Joe is going to be able to make it or not, but I will be there. I'm open for discussion and how we make this place better. And I mean, that's what we're all trying to do here every day. But it's really good to ask yourself, why do you live here? And I really appreciate that question, that point of reflection. I think we all need that on a regular basis. So that's all I have for tonight.
Thanks, Carmen. Sarah?
Yeah, just one thing for me tonight. It's the 4th Annual South Coast Diversity Conference at the Mill Casino on April 10th and 11th from 9 to 4. It's a one-day conference, so same content. You can choose the day. I'd love to see city staff, city councilors, community members join us for this great opportunity to learn together and see how we can empower voices and create change.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Ashton, thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. It's great to have you here. Maybe you'll come back again and get with us. I also want to, it's nice to hear all the nice comments about the city of Coos Bay. I totally agree. This is a wonderful place, and so it's nice to hear the positive comments this evening. And, you know, that's what we're up here doing. We're doing just trying to make it better all the time. Another thing Carmen mentioned up, he will be at the meeting tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have another obligation out of town. I won't be able to make it. So Carmen has offered to be there, and we'll have our city manager and we'll have the chief there and any others that would want to join. So we have another meeting on April 3rd, the Wednesday after our council meeting. Is that going to be at 6 o'clock? Is that correct?
That is what we've reserved,
Okay,
6
good.
p.m. at the library.
Yep, so I just want to, and I will definitely be there at that one. We didn't want to change the day. We want to keep it consistent. Every Wednesday after the council meetings, we're planning on having a meeting, one in the evening, and then one the following 2 weeks we'll have during the day. Try to get everyone to be able to attend if they wish. The other thing I want to mention is the parking lot that the city manager mentioned. If you get a chance on Commercial and 3rd, it's a wonderful parking lot. They're finishing up today. They're doing the plantings. It's great to see it come to the finish. And are they done today or pretty close?
I'm not sure if they're done. I mean, we know we have to come back in and do some electrical work. We're still working on the clock. We want it to be just a tad bit more stately and tall. So there will be some finishing touches still.
So it's great that that's happening. Also, Front Street, that parking lot's coming along. And I think it's important to talk about how an individual had pushed and helped, and a lot of work became with the city. But because of his efforts, the city of Coos Bay will receive $500,000 towards that parking lot that we didn't anticipate. So, you know, it's great. Steve Schneiderman should be commended for that. Steve pushes, and he got us to his attorneys and insurance company to move forward on it. And that's just the last installment. We had a prior installment of some kind of payment. So anyway, it's great to see those type of things happen. And it was a lot of work for the staff, and I know that. But I think the $500,000 is a great reward because of it. And he should be, commended for that. The other thing, we have these cards that are going to be handed out. And on this card, it says, see something, say something, data counts. And it gives a phone number for the police department, the non-emergency number. And so, you know, I got a notification on an issue that was going on, and it was Saturday. I texted the chief, and on a Saturday, the chief went down and checked this issue out and took it upon himself to make sure that this was rectified and taken care of. And so I want to commend our chief and the police department, which was referenced earlier. You know, these guys go way out of their way to take care of us and do a lot of good things for us. Besides the fire department and our staff, the police, and as the chief said, he always wants everyone to call. In this case, they didn't get. They had a lot of issues going on, so they didn't get immediate response from police department, but they did get there eventually. And as the chief said, you need to call, so we have statistics and we have information and data, so we know what's going on throughout our area. So please do, and I really appreciate you, chief, being there and taking care of that. Also, the Governor's Conference, another good thing that's going on. First of all, we have Lucinda that's serving as the chair of Travel Travel Oregon, which is wonderful. And TSOC, which I'm fortunate to be on the board, receiving an award. Julie Miller and Barb Dunham, went and have really done a great job, and were recognized at this conference for what they've done. So again, it's for a lot of good things that are going on in this community, and I think we need to be proud of what we have. And so I will end my comments with that. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and the meeting's adjourned.